Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we're unlocking something really universal, something pretty much everyone does, shopping.
Yeah, whether you're grabbing groceries, maybe looking for a new gadget, or, picking up a souvenir when you're on vacation.
Exactly. And effective communication is just key in all those situations. But what happens when you're, say, in a new place, maybe navigating a busy market or just trying to snag a good deal?
Right. Those are the moments, aren't they? Where you might feel a bit, well, lost, or you might miss out on a really cool experience or even a bargain just because you don't quite have the right words.
Or maybe you don't understand the cultural side of things.
Precisely. So today, our deep dive is all about equipping you with those essential English phrases for shopping. And yes, we'll get into the subtle art of bargaining too.
This isn't just a vocabulary list, though, is it?
No, not at all. It's really about understanding like the dance of negotiation, how to interact politely in all sorts of different shops and markets.
Okay, so our mission for you, the listener, in this deep dive is to help you become a really confident, culturally aware shopper.
Yeah, imagine you're planning a trip, maybe somewhere exciting like Istanbul, exploring the Grand Bazaar. You might be a bit nervous about how to handle the shopping side.
We want this deep dive to turn you into someone who can just walk into any store, any market, ask for prices, make your purchase smoothly.
And even bargain skillfully when it's the right time and place.
Think of this as your shortcut, really. Your way to feel totally at ease and, well-informed next time you hit the shops, wherever that might be.
Okay, so let's unpack that a bit. Why does this shopping speak, as you called it, actually matter? It's just buying stuff, right? Item for money.
Well, yeah, it goes way beyond just getting the thing you want, doesn't it? It really changes the whole experience.
It absolutely does. Think about it, a smooth shopping trip where you feel, satisfied and respected. That almost always comes down to clear communication.
Like even just running to the supermarket.
Exactly. You might need to ask someone where the gluten-free bread is, or if they have a specific brand of coffee.
Or maybe you're looking for a particular spice and you need to describe it.
Right. It's not just pointing. It requires some specific language sometimes.
And what about traveling? When you want to buy a unique souvenir.
Yeah, that's a great example. You might want to know where it came from, or maybe a bit about the person who made it, the story behind it.
That needs more than just basic words. You need to engage a bit more to really appreciate it.
Totally. And for bigger things, clothes, electronics, you'll definitely have questions about sizes, colors, features, the warranty.
Return policy, always important.
Always. If you're buying a laptop, you'll ask about the specs, processor speed, RAM, all that stuff. You need precise language for that.
So, yeah, this is useful for daily life, for travel, exploring markets.
And even online shopping, don't forget that. Understanding terms like discount code, shipping costs, refund policy, that's all part of this bigger shopping vocabulary.
That's a really good point. You're still interacting with language, even if it's written. So, okay, we're going to cover a whole range of situations today.
Yeah, buying clothes, food, souvenirs, groceries.
Navigating supermarkets, those bustling marketplaces too.
Right. And this brings us to something really, really crucial. A cultural point you absolutely need to get right away.
Okay, what's that?
It's the difference between fixed prices and flexible prices. This can really make or break your experience, especially when you're traveling.
So like, when is it okay to haggle and when isn't it?
Exactly. In some countries, and often in specific places like traditional markets, bazaars, maybe artisan shops, think of that trip to Istanbul's spice market. Bargaining isn't just okay, it's like expected. It's part of the deal.
Part of the interaction. Almost like a little game.
Kind of, yeah. It's a social ritual, a polite negotiation. It's not just about the money, it's about the connection.
So if you just pay the first price, they say.
They might actually feel like you didn't really engage, like you skipped a step in the social exchange. Historically, prices weren't always fixed, especially for unique goods, and bargaining was a way to build that rapport.
Wow, so you could actually seem a bit rude by not trying to bargain in some places. That's counterintuitive for a lot of us.
It can be, yeah. It's all about knowing the unwritten rules. But then, flip side. Think about a modern shopping mall, a big department store, or your average supermarket in, say, the UK or the US.
Prices are fixed, tag on the item, that's what you pay.
Right. And trying to bargain there, say haggling over a t-shirt in a big chain store, that would seem really weird, maybe even rude or just confusing for the staff.
Yeah, I can picture the look on their faces if I tried to haggle at the Gap.
Exactly. So understanding this difference, fixed versus flexible, is just fundamental. It helps you avoid awkward moments and interact respectfully.
It really sets a stage for knowing when to use those bargaining phrases we'll talk about later.
Totally. It's the first step to being a savvy, culturally smart shopper.
Okay, perfect. So cultural context noted. Now let's get into the actual building blocks of the core vocabulary.
Right, your essential toolkit. These are the words and phrases that are the absolute foundation for pretty much any shopping chat.
Each one's like a little key, unlocking smoother interactions.
And we'll look not just at the basic meaning, but the nuances, like how and why they're used.
Okay, first word, price. Simple enough, it's the cost, but asking about it, what is the price of this bag? Does that mean different things in different places?
It can, yeah. In a store with fixed prices, it's just information gathering. Simple question.
But in a market where bargaining is common.
It's often the opening move. It signals your interest and invites the seller to give their starting point. It kicks off the potential negotiation. So yeah, it's fundamental, but the implication can vary.
Got it. Okay, next, cashier. The person who takes your money. You can pay at the cashier.
Pretty straightforward role, right? They handle the payment, cash or card, make sure it all goes through correctly. Universal in most stores.
Then, the words everyone loves. Discount or sale, meaning a lower price.
Right. So you might ask, is there a discount on this, or is this item on sale?
This is how you find those deals, and knowing how to ask politely is key.
Definitely. Sometimes discounts aren't obvious, but a polite question might just reveal one. Doesn't hurt to ask.
And after you pay, you need a receipt. That piece of paper showing what you bought and paid.
Absolutely crucial. Can I get a receipt, please? You need it for returns, exchanges, or just for keeping track of your spending. Always ask for one.
Especially for bigger items, yeah. Okay, clothes shopping now. Try on means testing the clothes.
Yep. May I try this shirt on? It's essential for clothes, obviously. And there's usually a specific area, the fitting room, for this. Asking implies you're seriously considering buying it.
And linked to that is fit. Does the size feel right?
Exactly. If it doesn't, you'd say, it doesn't fit me, or maybe it's a bit tight, or it's too loose. It helps you explain why you need a different size, or maybe why you're not buying it.
Okay, what about when something's just out of reach, price-wise? How do you say that without being blunt?
Yes. Too expensive. It means it costs more than you want to or can spend. A good way to phrase it is, sorry, this is too expensive for me.
The sorry and for me make it softer.
Exactly. It frames it as about your budget, not a criticism of the item itself. It's polite, less confrontational, and sometimes saying that might even prompt the seller to suggest something else, or maybe offer a slight discount in a bargaining situation.
And the opposite.
Affordable, meaning it's not expensive, it's within your budget. These shoes are very affordable. It's a positive way to describe something that works for you financially.
Good one. Okay, paying with cash. You need to know about change.
Yep, the money you get back if you pay more than the price. The cashier might say, here's your change. You need to understand this for cash payments. Make sure you get the right amount back.
And finally, if things don't work out with the item.
Refund or exchange. A refund is getting your money back. An exchange is swapping it for something else, maybe a different size or color.
So you might ask, can I get a refund if it doesn't work? Or can I exchange this?
Right. These relate to store policies and your rights as a consumer. It's important to know how to ask about these possibilities.
Okay, so those are the key words. Powerful on their own.
But they really come alive when you weave them into polite questions and use them for comparisons. That's where the real communication happens.
Right, moving from just words to actual effective, courteous communication.
Yeah.
This is like the grammar playbook for shopping.
Let's start with those politeness power-ups. Can, may, and could. These little words are like magic for making requests sound softer, less demanding.
Why are they so effective?
Well, they signal respect. Instead of just stating what you want, you're asking for permission or possibility. It changes the whole tone. Can I try this on? It's pretty standard, polite, used everywhere.
Okay, and may I?
May I see the other size? That sounds a little more formal, maybe shows a bit more deference. You hear it more in perhaps higher-end stores sometimes.
And
could you give me a better price? This one is super polite. It suggests possibility, not a demand. Great for bargaining because it invites cooperation.
so choosing the right one depends on the situation and how formal you want to be.
Pretty much. And using them just makes people more likely to respond positively. It's basic psychology. Really, a polite request feels better to receive than a demand.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, next tool. How much for asking price?
This is your go-to. Direct, clear, universally understood. No confusion here.
And the structure is simple. Singular. How much is this shirt? Plural. How much are these shoes?
Yep, straightforward and efficient. Gets you the info you need quickly.
Now, for comparing or negotiating gently, comparatives for bargaining.
Right. Using adjectives like cheaper, more expensive, less expensive helps you discuss value and maybe nudge the price without being aggressive.
So you could say, this one is cheaper, maybe comparing it to something else you saw.
Or, that one is more expensive than this one. Highlighting a difference, maybe questioning the value proposition.
And what was that phrase you liked for budget options?
Do you have anything less expensive? It's great because you're not directly challenging the price of the item in front of you. You're politely asking for alternatives within your budget. Shows you still want to buy something.
Using comparatives like this makes it more of a discussion, less of a confrontation.
Exactly. It's about value and options, which feels much more collaborative.
Okay, we've got the words, we've got the grammar structures. Let's put them into action now. Build some actual sentences for real-world scenarios.
Right. Moving from theory to transaction. How do you actually use this stuff?
Let's start with asking about price again, but maybe some variations. We know, how much is this?
You could also say, what's the price of this dress? Sounds maybe a touch softer.
And that savvy shopper question.
Is it on sale? Crucial for checking if a discount is already factored in. Perfect for department stores or if you see a big display. Always worth asking.
Okay, now you've decided. Making a purchase. How do you signal that?
I'll take this one. Clear, simple statement of intent.
Then you might need to clarify payment.
Can I pay by card or cash? Really important, especially when traveling, as norms differ.
And if it's a present?
Could you wrap it as a gift? A polite request for that extra service. These phrases just help you finalize the deal smoothly.
All right, the moment many have been waiting for, trying to bargain. The negotiation. How do you kick that off politely but directly?
A common way is, that's too expensive, can you give me a discount? You state the issue, price, and politely ask for a solution, discount. The can you is key.
What about getting them to name their lowest price?
You could ask, what's your best price? This invites them to make the next offer.
And if you have a number in mind?
Suggest it directly but politely. Can you make it $10 or whatever your target price is? It's a clear counteroffer.
Let's try a quick role play. First, in a clothing store. Fixed prices mostly, but maybe some wiggle room.
Okay, I'm the assistant, you're the shopper.
Hi, how much is this jacket? It looks really nice.
It's $60. It's one of our new arrivals, very popular.
$60. It's a little more than I was thinking. Is there any discount on this at all? Maybe a special offer?
Well, we don't usually discount this one, but tell you what, since you asked so nicely, I can give you 10% off today, just for you.
Oh, really? Thank you so much. That's great. I'll take it then.
See? Even where prices seem fixed, a polite ask can sometimes work wonders. It doesn't hurt to try respectfully.
Definitely worth remembering. Okay, now scenario 2. At a market. Bargaining expected.
Right. Think Istanbul's Grand Bazaar. I'm the seller this time.
Picking up an item. This is beautiful. How much is this handmade bag?
Ah, very nice choice. Good eye. For you, my friend, special price, $25. Genuine leather, top quality.
$25. It is lovely, but that's a bit much for me right now. I saw something quite similar down the way for $20. How about $18?
$18. Slight pause, friendly tone. No, my friend. This quality is much better. Look at the stitching. Okay. Because I like you. $20. Final price. That's a steal.
$20. Okay, deal. That sounds fair. Thank you. I'll take it.
And that's the dance. The back and forth, the counter offers, meeting in the middle. Both sides feel they got something. That's good bargaining.
Perfect example. Okay, just a few more other useful expressions for general navigation.
If you need a different size in clothes, do you have this in a smaller, larger size? Essential.
And if you're just browsing and a salesperson approaches?
Simple, polite. I'm just looking, thank you. Lets them know you don't need help right now without being dismissive.
And if something's just not in the budget?
It's a bit out of my budget. Gentle, non-confrontational. It explains why you're not buying without criticizing the price itself.
Great. These phrases help manage the whole interaction gracefully. But as you said, their effectiveness really depends on understanding the cultural context.
Absolutely. Which brings us back to cultural intelligence in shopping. It's not just what you say, but how and where.
Let's expand on those bargaining norms again. Where exactly is it most common?
You often see it in places like, yeah, souks in Morocco, bazaars in Turkey, street markets in parts of Asia, Africa, the Middle East, usually for things like crafts, souvenirs, textiles, items where the value isn't standardized, like in a supermarket.
And it's more than just saving money.
Oh, definitely. It's part of the social fabric, building rapport. Like we said, sometimes not bargaining can seem a bit off, like you're uninterested in the interaction itself. It's a sign of engagement.
Whereas in most malls, department stores, supermarkets,
Prices are fixed. Bargaining there would be awkward, confusing, maybe even seen as rude. You have to read the room, basically.
misjudging that could lead to real frustration, couldn't it, for both sides?
Totally. Imagine haggling at a self-checkout machine. Doesn't work. So rule number 1, when asking for discounts or bargaining, be polite, don't demand.
Makes sense. A demand just creates resistance.
Exactly. You want to invite cooperation, and tied to that, smile and use a friendly tone. Seriously, it makes a huge difference.
Just basic human connection.
Yep. People respond better to warmth and friendliness. A seller is more likely to want to help you, maybe even offer a better price if they like you and feel respected. It smooths the whole interaction.
And this links back to using could you, may I,
Yeah.
and always remembering.
Please and thank you. These aren't optional extras. They're fundamental cultural necessities in most places. They show respect.
Got it. Okay, so even if you're polite and culturally aware, mistakes can happen, right? Especially with language. Let's look at some common communication landmines to avoid.
Good idea. Knowing what not to say is just as important.
First one, abruptness versus politeness in price inquiry. What's the mistake here?
Just pointing and saying cheap as a question.
Ouch. Yeah, that sounds blunt instead.
Ask, can you give me a better price, or is the price negotiable?
Why is cheap so bad?
It's demanding, dismissive, implies a judgment. It puts the seller on the defensive right away. The polite alternatives open a respectful conversation about price.
Okay. Mistake number 2, demanding versus expressing intent.
The error is just stating, I want this.
Feels a bit entitled. The better way.
I'd like to buy this, please, or I'll take this one, please.
I want sounds like a command. I'd like is a polite preference. Much better.
Exactly. Shows better manners.
Third landmine, commanding versus requesting a discount. We touched on this.
Yeah, the mistake is saying, give me discount.
Very direct, sounds rude. And the polite fix.
Could you give me a discount, or is a discount possible?
Again, it's the difference between a command, give me, and a polite request, could you. The request invites consideration. The command invites resistance.
Precisely. You're asking for a favor, essentially.
And the final, maybe biggest point about politeness, the crucial role of please and thank you.
The mistake is simply forgetting them. It happens, especially if you're concentrating on getting the other words right, but it really matters.
Because using them signals basic respect and good manners.
Absolutely. They're like universal signals of politeness. Even if your grammar isn't perfect, consistently using please with requests and thank you when helped makes a massive positive difference in how you're perceived.
They really smooth things over.
They do. They build rapport, show appreciation, and just make the interaction more pleasant for everyone. Don't underestimate their power.
Okay, so we've covered the vocabulary, the grammar, the cultural nuances, the common mistakes. Now, how do you actually make all this stick? How do you internalize it?
Right, because listening is one thing, but making it part of your active skill set is another. This is about reinforcing the learning.
So active recall, like practicing those fill-in-the-blanks we mentioned. How much this bag?
Yeah, exercises like that help solidify the patterns. How much is this bag? Can I try this shirt on? It builds that mental muscle memory for the correct structure.
And applying it contextually, like completing, that's too fade. Do you have something cheaper?
Exactly. Filling in expensive there connects the word directly to the situation where you'd use it, articulating budget limits politely. It moves from passive knowledge to active use.
What about pronunciation and sounding natural?
Crucial. Practice saying the phrases aloud. Can I pay by card? Could you show me something more affordable? I'll take this one, thank you. Get the rhythm and intonation right.
Record yourself, maybe?
Great idea. Listen back. Does it sound natural? Does it flow? Sounding natural makes you easier to understand and builds confidence. It makes the whole conversation less effortful.
And for real-world practice.
Role-playing with a friend is fantastic. Take turns being the shopper and seller. Or just mentally rehearse before you go out. Imagine the conversations. Say the phrases in your head.
Even writing down little dialogues for situations you expect.
Anything that gets you actively using the language. Consistent, low-stakes practice is the key. That's how you move from thinking about every word to just speaking naturally.
Like learning to ride a bike, you said. Wobble it first, then it clicks.
Exactly, it becomes automatic.
Okay, so let's quickly recap this deep dive. You've learned that core shopping vocabulary.
You've got polite ways to ask questions and even bargain.
You understand key grammar, like how much is, and using can, could, may.
And crucially, you've gained insights into the cultural side, knowing when bargaining is okay and the power of politeness.
You've got the tools now, ready to be a more confident shopper.
So here's your challenge. Next time you go shopping, try using just one new phrase from today. Just one. See how it feels, how it changes the interaction.
Yeah, put it into practice straight away.
Yeah.
And maybe think about this.
Yeah.
Mastering these phrases doesn't just make shopping easier.
It really opens a window into cultural understanding, into that universal human thing of exchange and interaction. It makes you wonder what other everyday situations could be improved just by using more precise, more polite language.
That's a really interesting thought to mull over. Language really does shape our experiences.
It absolutely does.
Well, we hope this deep dive has armed you with the tools and confidence you need for your next shopping adventure. Thanks for joining us.
And definitely tune in next time. We'll be taking a deep dive into dining out and ordering food, another essential skill.